Back-to-back win, Tiger fans. Who would have thought? It was a big game. Tigers get up by 49 points, 16-9, 105 to 8-8, 56 against the Eagles over in Perth. And look, I'm not sure if many of us tipped them. I didn't. I didn't tip Richmond. I thought and hoped we would win, but in my footy tips, I didn't go with my instinct. So I've let myself and the team down there. But what a win! And it was not only getting the 4 points. There was so many layers to this game to be excited about. It wasn't about necessarily always just about the 4 points. Going back to back for the first time in Yze's tenure is a huge result for Yze in the club. As we know, there's been a lot of people riding Yze pretty hard, unfairly, might I add, in my opinion anyway, for quite some time. So for him to get back-to-back wins is a huge result. For the first time we've had back-to-back wins for a number of years. Well, obviously we had a pretty down year last year, and we're in the midst of it, or the start of a rebuild this year. But we also cracked the magic ton. And this was something that I flagged on our mid-season video, that it was the one thing left on the list that I thought we had to try and achieve this year to get a big pass mark, to kick 100 points in a game, which prior to this West Coast game, we hadn't done since round 23, 2023 against the Kangaroos. So it had been a long time between drinks. I think we all maybe felt the Essendon game might have been an opportunity, but obviously that game turned out not how we wanted it in terms of game style, with Essendon putting numbers behind the ball. But good to see in a nice dry night in Perth that we're able to execute the ball movement how we wanted to. So to kick 105 points without Tom Lynch, I think that's the really important thing to remember here as well, folks, is I know Lynch hasn't shot lights out this year, but he's our most experienced forward. So out there in that West Coast game, we've got Jacob Kazitsky running around as the number one forward for us, and I thought he did another really solid job. Impacted contests, made some really nice spoils, took a couple of nice marks, missed that shot he probably would have loved for him to have kicked just with some reward for his own effort. But then you got Jonty Fall, who had a massive second half in particular. 2 goals, 11 disposals, 4 marks, 1 tackle. Just was everywhere. Like, don't underestimate what Jonty Fall is doing for a first-year key forward. It's honestly way off the scale. I can't remember seeing a first-year key forward playing in a team that's down the bottom of the ladder for every game since he's come in and doing the things he's doing. And it might not seem like a lot on the surface, but the amount of work rate he's putting in, the contest he's getting to, the packs he's smashing into, the lead-up options he's giving, he's doing it more and more frequently and staying in games longer and longer. And I truly can't remember the last time a key forward did that so consistently for a lower ranked side. It's honestly impressive. And when he puts on just a bit more size and gets a bit more experience, he's going to be seriously dangerous. And it's no wonder that we rated him the best forward in the draft, honestly. And I can see why Sydney were jumping over barrels to try and get a trade with us on the night so they could get him themselves. And the fact he got multiple goals for the first time in a game is huge for him and his confidence. Kicked 2 goals too. Probably was very close to marking that other one in the first quarter, and the goal square went through his fingertips. But good reward for effort. Hopefully he gets a bit of belief and confidence now. And that was a cracking game. But just to highlight the inexperience of our forward line, and we identified this as an issue for the last few weeks because of Lynch missing. This is why it was important to have Kazitsky up there. But I think what the actual real game changer was, and it's something that we've been talking about that we needed to see for quite a while now, maybe months we've been saying it, and not just us, but supporters in general, we finally saw the benefit of Taranto and Hopper pushing forward a bit more at times. So Taranto was often in the half-forward area on transition as well, so able to get some marks in inside 50s. But for Taranto to kick 3 goals, Hopper to kick 2 goals, 5 goals between you two midfielders, along with 60 disposals between them, 63 between them, that's a massive, massive game from both of them. And realistically, if we're going to be a chance to kick somewhat of a score to try and win games or be in games, we need our midfielders to kick goals. And I know they were in the centre bounces for quite a lot, but we did see some variation there. We saw Seth Campbell in there, and he won holding the ball because the Eagles couldn't escape with it. Now, I'm not sure. I think they might have escaped with it had it been not for Seth Campbell being in there, so that was a good thing. Morris Jr. played in the middle. We'll get back to him in a little bit, though. Tyler Sonsie had to go in the midfield too. So we actually got creative, and it actually allowed Taranto and Hopper to swing forward a bit. The experience and the class they add to that half forward part of the ground where we are struggling to have experience is invaluable. And they were able to bob up and kick the 5 goals. That gets us kick-started. Ryan Mansell chips in with 3 goals. Another really good game from him. And yeah, it was super impressive all round. But I think there's a couple of plays we need to give some individual love to. The first one, I want to go Maurice Rioli Jr. first. That tackle, that's going to be etched into our brains for forever. One of those where were you moments when Maurice Rioli was Superman in the middle of the whacker of Optus Stadium. I'll get third time lucky. So Morris had 13 disposals, 2 marks, 2 tackles. The pressure he created, though, was off the charts. I mean, I think you can comfortably say that tackle and then the smother and follow-up pass to Nankervis, who goaled not long after, those 2 things in isolation really set the scene for us as a team. And you could see post-game Yze talking about it in the debrief, and just how much it meant for the players, for Morris, for Yze. It was a desperate measure, and Morris had no right to catch that player. Like, with how far back he started. If you were to watch any other game of football, that chase will happen, and then 9.5 times out of 10, the guy with the ball will kick it in the last 5 steps of the bloke chasing, and it's been all for nothing. But the fact that he had no awareness, I think I saw Baker screaming, trying to get him to kick it, and Morris just didn't give up. That is A+++ attitude, and that is the intent that you need to have in every game, because that sets the bar. The word barometer comes to mind. I know we have a bit of a joke about that with Reece Matheson, but that was seriously impressive for Morris Jr. And like I said, the smother afterwards, the pick up, and after that smother, and he collected the ball again, most players would have probably had that adrenaline hit and taken that shot on goal themselves. And you would probably be okay with that. But to have the calmness, the presence of mind, to see Nankervis in the square by himself, honour the pass, so Nank could kick the easiest of most certain goals, is such a great bit of team play, and that in itself is uplifting. And to see all of the players immediately acknowledge Morris for his work was exactly what you want to see. It was super. It was really, really good. Seth Campbell, the only down part of this night was obviously Seth Campbell getting concussion with a bit of friendly fire, it seems, from Tim Taranto. 11 disposals, 2 marks, 5 tackles, 2 clearances, 2 goals. The speed he was generating around stoppages, and we saw that 3 or 4 bounces running goal through the middle of the ground and then slots at home. That's uplifting as well. Talk about like spark moments and intensity and uplifting things. We had a lot of that against the Eagles, which was really, really good to see. It's such a shame he's going to miss the next game, because he was starting to play some really good footy and looked like he was in really good form. But good to see him up around the contest more. I think the common theme that I'm feeling is that we're now seeing Seth Campbell, Morris Jr., Ryan Mansell, Tyler Sonsie, players like that up around the ball more. They're able to get busier, get more disposals, get more creative, and between their speed, skills, and footy IQ, they're able to execute and move the ball down the field quicker, and it looks really good, and it pays off for us. So really, really happy for them. Tyler Sonsie, I mean, what a game. You got to hand it to him. We will not have anybody trying to shit can this game, and I don't want to see people saying, oh yeah, but it was just against the bottom side. What more do you want him to do? People complain and give him a clip because he doesn't do something. They want him to do something extra. He does it, and then it's, oh, well, it was only against West Coast. Come on, cut it out, guys. Cut it out. Give the guy some credit. Give him a pat on the back. It was a bloody good game. 21 disposals, 4 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances, 1 goal, 1 behind. But as we all know, those disposal numbers are almost largely irrelevant, whilst impressive and important. I think he was at about 83 or 84% efficiency too, which was awesome. It was his commitment to the contest time after time after time. That's what shone in everyone's eyes. There was one in the first quarter where the ball went inside 50, and he ran at that ball, and the West Coast player at 1,000,000 miles an hour did not flinch, smashed into him. The ball spills out. I think we get a stoppage. I'm not sure what come of it. It doesn't even matter what come of it. What mattered was that he didn't flinch from that contest. He went straight through it and took whatever contact was coming his way. And that was the theme for him for the night. So I'm guessing there was a conversation had during the week about maybe the reasons why he was subbed off the last couple of games, associated and linked to moments like that he wasn't maybe doing. And I truly hope this is a penny drop type moment for Tyler Sonsie, because if he can be putting up that kind of performance week in, week out, you can't dislodge him from the 22 as far as I'm concerned. That kick from halfback that he made to the middle of the ground to open it up, not many players take that kick. That is a elite sexual, shall I say, kick. Very, very accurate and very impressive. More of that, please, Tyler Sonsie. You got to give him a pat on the back. Super game. Jaden Short and Sam Banks, I'm continuing to enjoy their partnership off halfback. I really didn't think it was going to go the way it has. I really thought that when Jaden Short come back, I mean, firstly, I thought that Short wasn't going to play in the back line, and I was happy for him to play elsewhere. But when I realised and found out we were going to play him in defence, my immediate thought was, okay, he's going to go back to doing the attacking role and Banks is going to go back into his shell and regress and not be as attacking. But it's been the opposite. Both have been equally as attacking. When you have got two dynamic options off the half-back line who can run and carry, who are good long kicks of the ball, and it creates a bit of an issue for opposition on who to shut down. So I'm actually really enjoying that. The last one I want to give a shout out to, Tyler Young, who had 14 disposals, 2 handballs, 8 marks, 1 clearance. I think he went at 100% efficiency. 100% efficiency for anyone. I don't care who they are, what position they play, is elite. And he has come back a totally different player. We saw it last week. And again, I know people are going to go with the easy out of, it's only against West Coast and Essendon. But he backed it up in consecutive weeks. You can only play the people that are in front of you. Attacks the ball well, went for a run down the ground and still hit his targets. He's been really impressive, and I'm really liking the Young and Miller combination. I think they complement each other well, and we now have a serious dilemma on our hands on what to do with Noah Bolter. His curfew's finished, so he's able to play every game from here on out. Personally, I'm not disrupting that back six. So if Bolter comes back in, I think he's got to play forward at the expense of Kazitsky, who didn't do a lot wrong, but that's how I would play. But that's a video for another time, I think. But yeah, super impressive win. You know, and we said during the week that this was always going to be West Coast Grand Final. In a lot of ways, it was one of our Grand Finals too. Both teams clearly would have identified this game as one that they were both a good chance of winning. West Coast to try and get their second win on the board, who, you know, they've probably been playing some better footy than us in recent weeks. They had a great game against Port Adelaide, or a great first half anyway. And we just broke them down. That third quarter, 8 goals in the third quarter. I mean, I can't remember the last time we did that. Maybe it would have to be at least a couple of years, surely. We were just everywhere. The ball movement, like I know we always talk about, we see a lot of comments about, is there a game plan? Is there structure? You saw exactly what we're trying to do against the Eagles. The quick counter-attack ball movement, they could not catch us when we exploded away. The commentators made note of it too. We were switching the ball around. We were able to come inside the corridor pretty much when we liked, which was good. For me, that just highlights the difference between opponents. And this is why I kept wanting to remind everybody who was angry and upset about our ball movement or lack of ball movement against Geelong, against the Bulldogs, against Adelaide. You can't execute it against those teams because they're good teams for a reason. They set up quickly, they set up well, they're disciplined, they're experienced, and they know how to shut out a growing team like us. But when you come up against a team who's at your level, those opportunities open up, you get more chances, and we luckily and thankfully took those chances. We didn't go back into our shells. We took the game on, and it paid off for us. So there's maybe a few times we could have let up at the ball carry a bit more from the forward line, but that's an inexperienced thing, and that will come in time. But overall, super happy with the result. To be on 5 wins in a season where we really didn't think we'd get more than 1 or 2 wins if we were lucky, is really honestly impressive. It's a huge tick for Yze and the coaching staff. So I want to backpedal ever so quickly to Jack Ross. How could I forget Jack Ross? Jesus, that would have been a big oversight. The move to put Jack Ross onto Harley Reid in the second half, again, wonderful by Yze. I can understand why we wanted to go head-to-head in the first half. I get it. But to Reid's credit, he was smoking us in the first half. But then to Jack Ross's credit, I think he kept Harley Reid to like 7 to 9 disposals in the second half or something crazy like that. And Rossi ended up getting quite a bit of it himself. I think he ended up on about 20-odd touches. 25 disposals, 6 marks, 9 tackles, 5 clearances. He's found himself a role. I'm not at all saying he needs to tag from the get-go. I don't mind if it's a switch in the game for him to then go tag like we did against Merritt and like we did against Harley Reid. I think that was great coaching. I think Jack Ross is a smart enough player that he can actually work off those players and get dangerous himself and make them a bit more accountable. And I think that's a real good strength to his game. So Jack Ross and Yze, well done. Rossi obviously took it in his stride, the challenge to take on some of the game's best. He was out marking Harley Reid at times, like out body positioning him. Rip a game from Jack Ross. And again, well done to Yze for having the courage to throw that task to him. But yeah, wonderful win. We're now 16th. We're above North Melbourne as it sits right now, which is unbelievable. It makes that trade all the more satisfying and amusing. And it could change. They could beat us later in the year. They could go back above us. Whatever happens, happens. But I think no matter what happens now for the rest of the year, 2025 for me has to be a big tick to Yze, the players. We've gotten all these games into the youngsters whilst winning more than double the games we won last year. And I'll finish off with this one, just so people have a bit of perspective about how we're travelling as a side. North Melbourne haven't won 5 games since about 2020, I think it is. So they've been rebuilding for 5 or 6 years now and not won as many games as we have in a single season. They probably will this year. They'll probably pass that mark this year. Well, I think they're on 5 now, so they might get to 6, so we're level with them. But it just goes to show how well our players are progressing, how well they're being coached, despite maybe some unpopular opinions at times. But it's been good. It's been fun to watch that West Coast game. And now we've got the challenge against the Magpies, who just had a loss to Fremantle, so they're going to be super pissed off. And maybe we have some confidence and we play a bit freer. And who knows what can happen. If we can somehow get the holy trinity of Carlton, Essendon, and Collingwood in the 1 year, that would top things off nicely. But yeah, we'll see how we go for that one. But let us know what you thought in the comments below. What did you think of the game? What did you like? What did you dislike? There couldn't have been much to dislike, honestly. But keen to hear all of your thoughts. And make sure you like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you for the next one. Go Tigers.